Boom, we are alive, ladies and gentlemen. I was having a good conversation earlier in one of my consulting calls today, and it reminded me that we should probably go over something. The idea of asking ourselves, were we wrong? Did we make a mistake? And how to recover. We all make mistakes at some point here or along the way. One of the best ways to do that is by asking ourselves the question up front, are we making a mistake? And is there something wrong with the thesis? So what I want to start off by doing today was diving into the charts and kind of going over a little bit of conjecture around asking ourselves the question, were we wrong? And then if so, how to adjust around that thought as it comes to pass or not. And we find out maybe we were right. But okay, so here's Bitcoin in the daily. We like to start here because it provides a really nice macro perspective on the left-hand side, just to kind of reiterate and to repeat the mantra of time and volatility. We have accumulation periods and areas of distribution. The accumulation period running up to where we are today took over 1,000 days, and the bull market since the exit of that trading range of, we'll go halfway, is only about 180 days. It's one of the reasons why I don't think that the bull market is over. Okay, so let's start there. That's what I think. Based off what I'm seeing, the measurement of accumulation and the measurement of markup at this particular moment, I don't believe the Bitcoin bull market is over. But what if I'm wrong? One of the sentiments I've always really appreciated from Monish Prabhai's book, Dan Dow, the low risk method to high value returns, is asking ourselves the question, tails I only lose a little bit, and heads I win. And I guess that's not really asking a question so much as kind of stating a thesis. We should lead always with tails I don't lose much. One of the most important factors of learning how to build a portfolio is knowing what you're willing to risk or to be willing to lose if in the event you are wrong or have the timing incorrect. So here we are. We're fairly well on to the middle range of this bull market. And one of the things that's important to recognize is that if we ask ourselves, what if I'm wrong? We could say there's downside to around $20,000 in a year or two of accumulation. Well, if we're wrong, that means it's time to accumulate. And most of the time people lead with the question, well, what if I'm right? What if Bitcoin goes up to 120,000? So if I buy in here and I exit there, I'm going to make this particular profit range here, and this will be a good return. Now, the downside is you can get it wrong and you can make mistakes. So you want to account for that by asking yourself the question, what happens if I'm wrong? Not what happens when I'm right. And I think far too often we lead with this kind of hopeful mentality around, oh, if I get it right here, it's to the upside, not if I get it wrong, what type of downside can I maintain, manage, and continue to accumulate on top of. And I think this is such an important way to frame this that I thought it was worth going over today, the episode, and kind of going, well, what if we're wrong? What if the bull market ends here? We kind of started that conjecture in last night's episode, just building up a mental model. What if the bull market is over and we come down to 18,000 and we bounce around for another 2 to 3 years before moving up higher? Well, perfect. If you're new to the markets, you should just be pretty much only accumulating, because that's what these beautiful long accumulation channels are for. And when you lead with the question of, well, what happens if I'm right, then you often make the mistake of entering here and not in any way assessing the potential for downside. But when you start by assessing the potential for downside, by asking yourself the question, what happens if I'm wrong, you will have already built it into your thesis, and you will have saved yourself any risk to the downside that you might not have been able to handle in the coming months. I think it's a really easy way to kind of simplify a thought process at any step of the way. Tails, I don't lose much. Heads, we win. I hope that was kind of functionally valuable for you guys. I thought it was just a really quick, digestible lesson from today's conversation. I wanted to also jump out and take a look at the S&P 500 and just really quickly here. Oh no. Just waiting for my gardener and he just showed up and left. No. Oh, well, maybe another day. Okay, so here we're looking at the S&P 500. We've moved back into the trading range. What we're trying to do right now is just measure the general sentiments of the market. The NASDAQ is still kind of piercing into new highs, although we do see a little bit of a turnaround taking place. I think that since we broke out of this trading range on the NASDAQ, we've been generally bullish in the markets at large. The volatility index, low and decreasing. The dollar index, still pretty much the same. No new strength or variations change. But here, when we're measuring the broader markets, we're just trying to get a pulse on how people feel in the normal world. Because I don't know. I definitely am not in the normal world, so I don't have a great pulse on it. This is one of the easy ways to see kind of what's been going on. Here's all the crazy fear of the start of an unknown virus, and then here's the bull market that ensued afterwards. So in that moment, we want to, is there a big correction that's coming? Because if this were the case, this would not bode well for Bitcoin. And again, where's our downside? Here, we're just trying to use the general pulse of the market to keep an eye on how everybody else is doing. And I guess in a broader spectrum of conversation is, how is the inflation going? Again, as we went over in our previous videos, it's very likely that what we're witnessing is asset inflation. So the prices of an asset appear to be going up due to the degradation of the dollar itself, not because the asset is worth more. Technically, the value of a property with a waterfall is always the value of the property, unless you build something productive like a business or a house on it that you can rent, but effectively just is as is. You have a certain value function based off what people would call intrinsic, like, oh, there is 2.5 acres, this kind of thing, versus the intangible aspect of value, like, the future perspectives of something. So when we're using these broader markets right now, we're just trying to keep a close eye on how the general public feels. Again, it should bode well for the rest of our thesis. A lot of people will be talking about probably a head and shoulders like this. And we've definitely seen hypodermic tops that do stuff like this. And that would be fantastic. Technically speaking, it would be great to have a bear market. I always love the time off and we can just accumulate and not think a whole bunch. So yeah, that's it. General thesis for the day. Ask yourself the question, what happens if you're wrong? Lead with that. And make sure that any experiment that you're putting out won't ruin you. First off, that's always a good step. Don't get wrecked. Make sure whatever you're doing, don't have problem get wrecked, okay? First step. Step 2 can be, okay, now that we're protecting aggressively for the downside potential, which means it doesn't really matter. We can continue to accumulate. How are we preparing for that long-term potential through research and basically value digestion? Like, how do we look, what's the most valued, or more specifically undervalued by price thing that we can find? And in the startup phase, there's a lot of those, and they blink in and out as fast, or probably actually a lot faster than any star. So just a kind of a quick update, general thesis for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Maybe we'll take a few minutes to look at questions just for fun as well. So yeah, let's go with a few questions. Is the light red? No, it's blue. It's blue behind me right now. I actually like this kind of switch it up every now and then. Yeah, that's right. Oh, hey, by the way, I wanted to let you guys know that we're going to give you a bunch of free TradingView indicators. Yep, that's right. Although I tell you not to use noise, if you want to play around and learn some things, we give away all these free indicators on TradingView. So if you'd like to, go and follow us on TradingView. So we'll kind of switch over to that now. It looks like this. Boom. If you have not used TradingView, you can sign up for it by arcanebear.com/TradingView. Don't get into trading, just get into viewing the markets and kind of witnessing it and trying not to be attached in any way, shape, or form to the direction that the price moves, and just observe and learn. Here we are giving away the Eagle's Nest, the Bear Claw, and the Eagle Crossing. The Eagle Crossing is one of our free scripts that shows you the Golden Cross or the Death Cross right here as well. This was originally designed by one of our internal Bear family members. So this is free for all of you. It will show you moments of accumulation with the pink here, and the buy with the red, green with the sell. Now again, don't use those. Just notice how they indicate areas of the market. These are also flexible through time, so as you zoom out, you'll get different variations. But more importantly, it will show you the Death Cross. And let's see here. We can click on this. The Golden Eagle Crossing. There she is. Yes, Here we go. So we have our fast EMA at 8, our slow EMA at 90. So when the 80 crosses the 9, and your 200 crossing as well. So the 90, the 200, and your fast EMA just as a quick kind of bounce line. You can copy this script. It is free for you to use. Give it to anyone you'd like. But if you would be oh so kind to, while you're following us there on TradingView, go ahead and give a thumbs up and leave a comment on any one of these free indicators that you get to keep. Just for being a part of the Bear family. We love you. Thank you very much for joining us. And we'll see you guys again on the next episode. Wait, hold on. No, I wanted to do question and answer moment, didn't I? No, hold on. I lied. I lied. We'll do a question and answer minute. Okay. Nice. I'm glad to hear you guys are doing well. New Crypto Mojo says, I'm a new subscriber. I really dig your energy. I'm excited to hear insights and knowledge. Thank you for doing what you do. My pleasure. Love sharing. Love riffing and ranting because I'm learning during this whole process as well. So it's great to digest and articulate and just become better at understanding what it is I'm digesting and then articulating, I guess. It's helpful for me too, so thank you. Was he wrong? I don't know, but your information is valuable. That was just, I think the sentiment is to ask ourselves and to lead with the question, what happens if I am wrong? If this experiment goes poorly, what are the outcomes I expect to get from that? So that we're all prepared for downside and upside instead of just, oh my God, if it goes up, I'll make millions of dollars. You should be prepared for what happens if it goes down, because it can do that too, right? Like this. And the most important part is that macro thesis. So hopefully that helps. Not was I wrong, but was I wrong? What happens if I'm wrong? Yeah, that was the sentiment we were trying to get across. Any news on Bali? Oh yes. Yeah. I had a part of our private mastermind group this morning. I asked my general counsel what they thought I should do. And it was a three against 2 vote. I didn't even get a chance to vote. They were so quickly voted me out. I basically said, well, it doesn't matter what I vote. I'm staying. I'll just take their word for it. I didn't want to flip a coin. I figured it was better to I would like to ask my mastermind group, please. Check. Okay, good. I'm staying. Sadly, I want to go. Trust me, I want to go. I love Bali, but we got work to do, paperwork, signing stuff, all that fun stuff. So we'll just keep working. Okay, just a few more look at your guys' thoughts and questions. We'll scroll down to the very last ones. If AG says, if a crash in March from COVID-19 was a black swan event, it wasn't a black swan event, not in any way, shape, or form. Not even close. It wasn't even remotely a black swan event. So first off, we should start with it wasn't in any way a black swan event. We knew pandemics were possible. We knew it could disrupt global trade. We knew these things were actually highly likely as this species grew, developed, and more people got more close with just everything we do. So that was not a black swan. That's actually a swan we were quite well aware of. Secondarily speaking, the moments going into it in January, February, when people like me and others started to sound the alarm, being like, hey, this looks maybe a little dangerous, we had ample warning before the market collapsed. So it was one of the furthest from a black swan. We saw it coming. We're like, oh, hey, look, it's flying this way. It's much more just like a regular swan. So the next part of the question was, if it was a black swan, the bull market actually started before November, December. Is the bull market over? What's your opinion? You can do the same thing going back in time by looking at 9/11, by looking at the 2008 collapse and doing retrospective study. And more than my opinion, I would look at data that has at least some form of repetition, which is the human species ends up scared as shit about something every 5 to 10 years. We'll go through some shit. Everybody gets scared. The market's like, it's a normal event. Happens all the time. None of them are black swan events because not in at least the perception of knowing that if we know it's going to happen, even though we don't know what is going to be the cause of it, we can at least assume in our thesis that it's going to happen and therefore we should plan for it even though we don't know what it is. I hope that makes sense. Don't forget the music. Do you drink alcohol? I like wine every now and then, but no, not really drinking alcohol. Love the philosophical and broader lessons. Thank you. I appreciate sharing them as well. Best TA on YouTube, watching crypto for years. Portfolio's up 25x even with this dump. Thanks again. Awesome crypto. Simple. Doing great. Dude, were you at Dojo Bali in late 2019? Yes, I was. I love Bali. I miss it there. Saw you in Around the Blockchain. Thank you for joining us here. You still in Costa Rica? Yes, I'm still at home. What's your preferred way to store BTC? I like ledgers. And now more and more so multi-sig. Found you around the blockchain. Nice stuff. What are the key levels? Where should I start preparing for the next bear market? If you're that new, you should ask none of those questions and you should just basically only buy. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you should focus on a month or day over day strategy, which is just accumulate. Jumping around, moving and trading and getting in and out of things, you're probably just going to only lose money. Where if you just focus on a simple strategy, unextraordinary people can do extraordinary things. Hope that one was fun. Is this crypto cycle going to change in any way? No, I do not believe so. Well, yes, we will probably squeeze out more of the volatility as time continues. That would kind of be the hope. Hi, Bear, did you follow Jerome Powell's press conference just now? Inflation is higher than expected. They will taper QE at some point. Yeah, they've given us pretty strong indicators that they're going to just keep printing until we are clearly out of the pandemic's wave. Who knows what that means? How do I follow Arcane Bear in TradingView? You can go to arcanebear.com/TradingView. No, that's how you sign up. Just type in Arcane Bear once you're signed up at TradingView. Music. Okay, we'll do music. You could just do like a week visit to Bali. No, that would never happen. If I'm going for like three to 6 months. And I got a lot of paperwork and shit to do right now. It's fine. I'll chill out. Got a beautiful house. It's nice to be able to get the work done. And we're putting in some serious foundations for a monster machine. So I'm super stoked about that. I like a quiet monster machine too. Like a silent but deadly type thing. Or silent but healthy. Huh? Hey, I'll switch it up a little bit. Let's not follow the cliche. We're silent but healthy. Hi, Bear. I noticed a big spike in shorts on Bitfinex over the last week. What's your thoughts on that? Whale is hedging. Could be. It'll be interesting to see. Again, we're right in the middle of the bull market. We've got equal opportunity for both up and downside. It's almost effectively unexciting because of that. No, I mean, look, obviously the markets are exciting, but when you're right in the middle of the market move, which means it could be over, right? That's why we started this idea of, well, was I wrong? More so, what happens if I'm wrong? What happens if we ask ourselves the questions primarily trying to address, let's say, mistake or downside before continuing our thesis? Because most people continue the thesis thinking that they're right and then not adjusting for what happens if they're wrong. And if you lead with the question, was I wrong? I think you get much better results in the long term. Christian Larson says, hey, Tio, saw you on Around the Blockchain. You did great. Thank you. I appreciate all your guys' support. Shout out to all the new Bear family that signed on. I really appreciate that. For those of you that are asking about inflation, I suggest reading the book 100 Baggers. What I am now continually focusing on looking for is a value that will grow basically regardless of government or regime or currency or inflation. They should be pretty deep in knowledge and in existence. Let's say wisdom and existence. Maybe those two sound better together. So sometimes inflation or growth can be unimportant, especially if you're investing in exponential technology. Vanda is asking, is an upthrust after distribution? So we're at a moment right now. We're not going to get a clear signal for probably the next 48 hours. I'm still under the camp that it's bullish. I think we're going to around $120,000 Bitcoin between now and let's say the beginning of 2022. Not financial advice. Again, remember, what if we're wrong? Well, if we're wrong, it goes to 20 grand. We just buy a fuck ton more of all these assets. Dear God, yes. Sounds amazing. So both things are good. Both are good. That's where you want to be. You want to be where no matter what the market does, you think, oh, good. Good. Yeah. That's a helpful place to be. That's a pretty centered spot to lead from. Awesome. Thank you guys all for joining us today. We'll leave it at that. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's content. I appreciated this a little bit after group conversation. I think I'm going to drive to the city and and grab a schwanky hotel. And I got a podcast to post with Rafaela of the CEO for Pods Finance. Super stoked about this. Decentralized options. Cool. Check them out. Big fans. Yeah, we're looking at a few more venture capital ideas. We always like, or I guess probably not even the right word for it, adventure capital. We just like finding things that are interesting more than anything. Anyways, thank you all for joining us. I'm really grateful to all the new Bear family that jumped in from the Around the Blockchain podcast. You guys, over 4,000 of you. That's incredible. Big shout out to the BitBoy squad for giving us the a moment to share and communicate value via their platform as well. I know the next time I've got to chat with them, it'll be fun. I think we'll do that again. So just a heads up on my gratefulness for all of this. Yeah, Sharma, it's funny. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Thank you guys all for joining us. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you on the next episode. Boom.